Today is John Limbacher's birthday, so we're all here to celebrate him and hear all the great advice he has.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Happy birthday!
Well, thank you.
Birthday.
It is March 3rd. I'm told that I'm 58 today. I haven't done the math, but I'm gonna just take it at their word.
All right.
So
we
maybe
were gonna sing to you. Everybody
Oh,
unmute.
oh.
Ready? On a 1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday
birthday to you. Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday,
dear
John.
Happy
birthday
to
you.
all right.
And many
Thank you very much.
Hey, for your birthday, you should buy yourself a boat.
Oh, another one?
A Russian yacht.
Oh, yes,
You know-
they may be available sometime soon.
We'll start calling John the oligarch.
Here's something about birthdays. I don't believe in birthdays. I believe in birth months. So I celebrate all months.
All right.
Excellent. Sure.
I started off on the 1st.
Excellent.
All right, that's awesome.
So started with an original Bob's Big Boy hot fudge cake on the 1st of March.
Wow.
Ooh.
My
And-
goodness.
Last night I was at Captain Jack's, which if you guys probably don't know, but that's like the
We
best.
do.
Well, yeah, like the best prime rib and king crab in all of California, I think.
Wow.
On PCH, right?
Yeah, the place is amazing. So had that last night. It's going to be sushi tonight, and it will just continue. Somebody's going to have to tell me when March 31st is, so I'll stop.
No, keep celebrating.
Well, honestly, you got to go into April to be a full month.
Well, I picked the month with 31 days. So
Oh, I guess you started on the 1st.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's gone.
So anyway, having fun. Another great year.
That's awesome.
All right. So what do we want to cover today? I know Jeff had a question about what is it? SendGrid, right? Okay, so inside Kartra, you can use mail using their mail system. They're very finicky about it. It's like if you get complaints, they cut you off. So whenever I send mail like generically or out to a much bigger list or anything like that, I always use SendGrid. I don't use the Kartra mail. I love the Kartra mail. That's what you guys get all my invites from. All customers and regular communication, I use Kartra mail. It's got really good deliverability. It's awesome. But if I'm going to do any kind of like advertising or sending something out that people are not expecting or something that they might complain about, I don't use Kartra mail. I send it through Kartra, but using the third-party integration for SendGrid. So in there, if you want to do that, you have to set up a SendGrid account over at SendGrid. And then inside Kartra, you go to the integrations tab and you set up SendGrid as a mail integration. By default, you already have the Kartra mail integration, but you want to set up SendGrid as your secondary. And then whenever there's a situation inside Kartra where it's going to send a piece of mail for you, it always gives you the choice of which mail system you want to use. So all you have to do is just select SendGrid or Kartra, or there's a couple other ones. There's Mailgun and some other ones also that you could potentially go with.
Do you have to import your contacts into SendGrid, or does it use it from the Kartra contact?
It totally uses it out of Kartra. Like in SendGrid, the only thing I did was I just created a SendGrid account and then I connected Kartra to it through their API.
Mhm.
And it's super simple to do. I believe you have to, I did this a while ago, and I think you have to set up a couple of DNS records as well with SendGrid for it to work for you. So that's just a another component to it. I found their instructions were pretty simple. The instructions in Kartra were fairly simple too.
Is it kind of like Mailchimp?
Yeah, similar. It's a Mailchimp, I think, is a little more marketing probably oriented, more autoresponders and all that stuff. But to tell you the truth, I really haven't even gone into the SendGrid thing to see what all it will do. I just simply wanted it as a gateway for Kartra to send my mail.
It looks like it's free if you send less than 100 emails a day.
Correct. Yeah, they've got a free account. I wanted to send more, so I think I got the one that it's under $20 a month. I think it's like $14 a month or something like that.
Yep.
So that's the one that I went with. And another reason I got it too is I really like the ability to send my mail through Kartra because I love the campaigns. I love the automations. I can see if people open my emails, all of that stuff. And Kartra has all that in one control panel that's really simple to use. Or I say it's simple, but some people argue the fact with me about how simple Kartra is. I guess that's a matter of how used to it you get, how simple things are. So like anything else, nothing's easy the first time. So it's just pardon me when I say stuff is easy because I've probably done it 100 times. It's like ACT, right? ACT is super simple, yet incredibly hard to implement. So anyway, one of the things that I've been doing for the last almost year now is I've been providing content for free giveaways to build my mailing list. And every month I go through this gal, I forget her name. I communicate with her once a month on email. She sends me the invite. Every month they do a new promo and it's like free giveaways. And I provide a couple of giveaways. They give them away. They collect the email addresses. And then at the end of the month, she sends me the Excel spreadsheet of all the people that downloaded my free gifts and stuff.
Cool.
And one of the ones that I do is that conversion optimizer. I figure that's a real good entry level giveaway for somebody. 50 ways to help convert on your website. And me being as lazy as I was, I just listed the 50 things. And instead of writing about each one, I just started up my video and I just went through and I made it like an hour video going over all 50 of them. Way easier for me than writing out, however many pages that would have been of content. And people have loved that. A lot of people go through that and then they'll sign up for my free consult on the website. It's led to a lot of, web development projects and stuff. Keeps my team busy. It's, I've got a bunch of web developers on staff, and if I don't keep them busy, then I lose them. So it's not like I want to, I'm not looking really to grow that part of the business, but I don't want to lose my developers. So I need a way to keep them busy. So that is one of the things that I've been doing for the last year. And it's, it continuously grows my list, generates leads, and gets web development clients. So cool little deal of the way that all works. And I've been getting those Excel sheets every month. And there's usually about 4,000 each month that have downloaded the thing. And it was like, I wanted to import those into Kartra. And I'm like, oh my God, if I do that, I'm going to lose my Kartra mail account like instantly. And that's when it occurred to me, why don't I just plug SendGrid in? So that's what I've done. And now every time I want to send out to, any generic group or anything like that, I just use the SendGrid. No problem. SendGrid does not have a problem with you sending unsolicited mail, bulk mail, especially in low volumes. Like 4,000 is not high volume email. That's not like, most people wouldn't consider that bulk. And the fact that it is really not unsolicited. These are people that have downloaded my free gifts and entered into my mail system. So it's not like I'm just sending out to anybody. So
So what
anyway,
is the typical message that you send out?
like one of them would be just thank you for your interest in the 50 free conversion maximizers. If you'd like a free consult, go to internetdominators.com and sign up. It's, 15 minutes of me just looking at your site and telling you what I think. No, what is it? No obligation, no sales pitch. I never pitch anybody on those calls. I strictly provide information. And what happens is, if they're at all serious, and this is kind of my qualifier, so I know if these are people that I want to even work with, if they're at all serious, they ask me if I can do it for them or if I'd be willing to do it for them. And that's like my no close. It's like, of course I can. I have a team. I first say, I kind of take it away. I say, oh no, I really can't, but I have a team that can. It's like, I just predicated of, I haven't done that kind of work for a long time, probably over a decade, but my team's happy to do it for you. So it's kind of a funny little takeaway. And, whenever you're talking with somebody, humor is great, especially, person to person. That just kind of sets everything at ease. So don't be all stiff and rugged when you're talking to people. People will like you and enjoy you much more if you're personable.
John, who is the she? You said she produces content. How does that work? Or is that just something you have in your own back pocket?
No, I just couldn't remember her name. Let me look it up for you here. Her name is Danielle Fiore. And they do a giveaway event, new giveaway event. They've been doing it like almost every month for almost a year. I'll give you guys the email address if you want to contact her and get in on it.
Yeah.
It's limitlessvalley@gmail.com, and her name is Danielle. So it costs $60 a month, which I think is pretty cheap for me to generate, almost 4,000 leads on average a month for $60. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
Would you either spell the email, John, or put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, let me.
And so what is the sort of genre or niche that she specializes in if you need this kind of thing?
It's business, there's a lot of self-help stuff. There's, business startups, but all business related. Yeah, it's all.
So she'll send out a message to her list, and then we give her a URL or an offer.
Yeah, and they get, like, a lot of the speakers, they get to help promote it too. They do a lot on social media. I'm not exactly sure how all the, what all the channels are they do to drive traffic for it. But I just put it in the chat. That's her name, company, and email. And they've been awesome. Yeah,
That's a great business.
Yeah.
Helping other people get business.
Yeah. I don't know how many people are in the group or whatever, but I am just kind of, off to the side. I send my $60 in, I update my gifts every month, and at the end of the month I get my Excel spreadsheet. So
That's awesome.
So
pretty cool.
You send her an email, and then she basically, does she have a website that you can see what type of content?
I'm not sure. Just contact her, tell her I gave you her info and was passing you along to her, and she'll explain it all to you. I think I was in the JVIC group, and I think that's where we connected. I don't really remember, but I think that's probably where I connected with her.
So John, how do you follow up with those leads then? Do you send them something special, like a welcome to the, and can you tell, well, I guess you get the list, so every month how many you get, but what do you do after that? Like, how do you follow up and integrate them in and make an offer and have them get to know you? You know what I mean?
Sure, sure. They've already really gotten to know me because I did the video on the back end. So when they download my thing, it goes to a thank you page, and that's where they're seeing me face to face. I'm talking to them. So they feel like, and this is really cool. When I do it that way and they schedule an appointment and they get on with me and we're talking live, they feel like they already know me. So that puts me at a real advantage in creating trust and rapport. I've already given him way more than I promised. All I promised him was 50 things. Here's a list of 50 things you can do to increase your conversions and get more business from your website. That was my promise. What I actually delivered was I delivered that list of the 50 things, but I also gave them a free video that goes through and explains how to use each one of them. What it is, because a list, if you weren't familiar with the language, and I think we talked about this last week, secret languages. When you unravel a secret language and you teach somebody what your secret language is of your industry, you are the one that has kind of brought them into the fold. They're under your wing. They feel very protected because nobody likes to ask questions and look foolish. And, to me, that's the most foolish thing of all, because the only foolish question is the one you didn't ask. But a lot of people, they just don't like to do that. It's like vulnerability, lots of different reasons. But when you just come out and you explain something that they didn't know and they don't have to ask for it, that just puts you like right through the roof with their trust and credibility. Frank Kern talked about that when he explained mass control like over a decade ago, and he had a special word for it. I talk about unique mechanisms, which are unique to you. Well, that one, that he separated that little piece out and he created a unique mechanism to him. He called it stacking the cool. It says, whenever I give something away, I always over deliver. I give them more than I promised. And he calls that stacking the cool. He goes, I want to be cool, and I want the coolness to just add up as they get to know me. So a perfect example of a unique mechanism, stacking the cool. Who else stacks the cool other than Frank Kern, right?
Oh, we do.
we all want to stack the cool. So that's a really good way to follow up with anybody. When somebody meets you for the first time, whether it's through email or in person or whatever, and anything that you've ever done in person that worked well for you, you should be trying to replicate that online. That is something that will take your business to the next level. When you can replicate the cool, when you can take something that worked, like conversations are perfect for this. Like if you've ever had a conversation with and it's kind of the same conversation 10 times in a row, and it just never goes well. A lot of times you're trying too hard, you're trying to push an idea or whatever, and people just don't take it well. And you've done it, you've hit your head 10 times, and it's starting to hurt a little bit more each and every time. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of tired and you're not going to push it hard. And you have another conversation, and all of a sudden this one went well. And you're like, what usually happens with most people is they get excited and they go back to the old way and it doesn't work again. And the reason it worked was because they let their guard down. They came across a little more vulnerable, not as pushy, a little more laid back. And you need to start taking notice of what works, because what works over and over and over. And the more you can model what works, the more successful you'll be. It doesn't matter if you're in sales or if you're in manufacturing or whatever. If you figure out what people like and you do it, you'll get good results. So model what works. Whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. Just be cognizant, be aware of what is working, how people react. Like, if you guys have ever, I know a lot of you have seen me at live events, and you'll notice I sit in the back corner of the room every time. If that spot is available, that's where I'm going to be, in one of the back corners of the room. That's by design. It's not because I don't want to talk to people. It's because I want to see the interaction. I want to see what's happening on the stage and how everyone's reacting to it. I'm learning from that. So if I'm not in the back corner, it's because I didn't get there early enough. I try and get to events early so I can grab that spot. And I can gauge things. It's almost like, how you can learn from an audience by taking a poll? Well, I'm back there taking polls all day long without taking a poll. When something's said, I can see the reaction across the whole field of people. I can see energy. You can see it. Shoulders go up. People lean forward. Be aware of what's going on. You can learn a tremendous amount to your benefit just by doing that. Whether you're in a room full of people or you're talking to somebody, in a casual conversation, be aware of how they respond, what they react to. In ACT, this is analysis. You're gathering analysis. The more you know, the more effective you can communicate. The more effective you can communicate, the more you're going to sell. Because that communication is what creates the demand and desire for someone to want what you're offering. Or even if you're not offering it. Like I told you, when I do those calls, I don't offer anything other than advice. But what I'm doing, I'm creating demand and desire for an unoffered thing. They don't even know what I'm selling, but they want it. So that is what you want to try and do. And there's no way to do that without knowledge. The more you know about them, the more you know about what they want, and not only what they want, but why they want it. Why they want it is far more important than what they want. Because a lot of times, and think about yourself, how often have you wanted something, but you didn't really know what it was? Right? Until you heard it or you saw it, someone exposed it to you and you're like, that's what I want. So when you can do that, you will create massive demand and desire. So help them figure out what they want, but to do that, understand why they want it. So Roger, you got your...
I was going to ask a question, kind of a hot seat question, but I realized Richard has his electronic hand up first.
Oh, I saw. Okay, sorry about that, Richard. It was yellow and white. It didn't stand out to me. Roger's popped up there. And I said, Roger.
It's all good, John. I was sort of, I'm finishing up my website, and as you might expect, being one of your affiliates / brokers, I'm offering all of your services. And I'll be quite upfront. I'm basically stealing your website, stealing your copy if it's working. And it works better. If I find something that works better, I'll be happy to upgrade, but I'm going to use your sales stuff to begin with.
No problem.
And well, that's what you said before, so I took you up on it. The one thing though is an example. There's two things. Talking about the video press release and the crowd targeting, starting with the video press release, how you talk about those two things, the sales language, the stuff that's on the website that gets them interested to raise their hand. I realize that after it happens the first time, it'll be a little bit easier, but having not had anybody raise their hand the first time, when somebody says, oh, great, video sales letter, what's that all about? How does that work? There's nothing on the website with regard to that I can see that is helpful in putting together the dialogue that I would use on the call that you just talked about, when you just talk to somebody about them, and at the end you be quiet and hope that they say, well, can you do that for me? I don't know. I don't, from what's on the website and even in the affiliate area, it's not really clear about how to talk about those things in the way that has them request from you or elicit from you their interest in having you actually do that. What are the conversations? I don't, if you can
Sure,
go
sure.
through, if you can go through both of them, that'd be great. But at very least, the video's press release, because I know what a press release is, but I'm not sure what the video press release is and how that gets fulfilled.
Sure.
I mean,
And
you'll fulfill it for me, but I need to talk to you about it.
Gotcha. And this is my fault really for not putting good stuff on my website. I've got some good stuff on there, but there's a lot of things, there's a lot of holes, and you just exposed one of them. And the reason is I don't have a good reason really, other than laziness. But I'm so good at communicating that stuff. When I get somebody that's interested, I just have a short conversation with them. And the conversation, like the video sales letter, or not video, so the video press release, the reason that somebody would want that, I can get somebody to want that doesn't even know the value of a press release, because it's credibility. It's the reason why people write books. It's the reason why they want to get positioned as an authority. So if you think about this, I say, what would be better than having you featured on the news? To have a newscaster talking about you. And the best part of that is you get to write the script of exactly what words they're going to say. How powerful would that be? That's what the video press release allows you to do. Because when you write your press release, you're writing the words, you're writing the script. And then with the video press release, they're going to take that script, they're going to hand it to a newscaster, and they're going to film them, and that's going to be your video. So you can control every word off their lips. When you say something about yourself, that has one meaning. It means, you're talking about yourself and everybody feels good about themselves, right? But it's much more powerful when someone else speaks highly of you than you speaking highly of yourself. When we talk about ourselves, we just kind of come off as pompous and, it's not a good light. It's not a favorable light. That's why I try not to do that. I hate when guys get up on stage and they spend 15 minutes of my day telling me how great they are. That just turns me off like you wouldn't believe. They could have the best thing in the world and I'm not going to buy it from them because I don't like them. Right? We just don't buy stuff from people we don't like. So don't make them not like you. So anyway, back to the thing. It's a whole nother thing, the way people see you when they hear it off someone else's lips. When you can get other people talking about you, that is proof. So remember, claim, proof, benefit. You claim that you're great, right? But where's the proof? You need other people to say it. As simple as that. That you can buy with a video press release. You can have it by the end of the day.
John, that's actually an NLP term called third-party validation. When you have overheard information, if you hear somebody whispering something about somebody, it's much more powerful than if they said the exact same thing themselves. It's absolutely powerful.
Exactly. So that's how I play it. That's how I position it.
Whose service does this?
That is the video press releases.
Oh, on your site.
Yeah, it's PR Reach is the company that does it. And when they first came out, they had a screaming deal. It was like $99 each, and they would syndicate the press release for you. They would create the video. They'd even help you write the script if you needed it. And I don't know how much it is now, but it's considerably more than $99. It's still a deal though. It's still an incredible deal. And the reason I'm not that familiar with the pricing is, for the most part nowadays, I used to do it. I used to take their service and mark it up and sell it as a product. And now I just kind of send people over to them. I'm just like, go over there, just get it, you know.
Where's the link on your site, or what's for you to go to the website?
Richard, where is that on my website? I am not actually sure right off the bat. You have
Okay.
to kind of poke through there, and it's in there somewhere.
prreach.com. I just put it in the
Oh,
chat.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's the one. They're
It's on this. It's on the scalable traffic page.
okay, perfect.
So do you still do the site pop? We have a client that may be good for that. And
Oh,
also,
yeah.
Is that still
We absolutely.
do the ninja thing on the Google search?
Yep, it also works on Bing, Amazon, and YouTube now.
Oh, wow.
So we have expanded.
And you have your like July 4th specials on those coming up, right? Or there's a
We do specials all the time. If you want to get back into Site Pop, I think you've been in there before, haven't you?
yeah, we never really kicked it off because the client didn't want to take that on, but
Yeah.
we're still investigating. And I have 4 phones now that are just sitting around.
If
And,
you want back in, just shoot me an email. We have a special page for past customers that you can get back in at whatever you left off at.
Okay. Yeah, we're still putting together the proposal, and I think that it might work at least to begin getting, top of search engines.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I'm going to be talking about that next Thursday. I'm back on the same stage that I got pulled off of when the COVID thing came down. I was in the Long Beach Convention Center at the Western Pool and Spa Association when they shut the whole event down. And
Midstream.
they basically closed all of California that day. And I am back on that stage almost 2 years to the date. And that is what I'm going to be pushing, is the local SEO boost service, which is SitePop on the back end.
Local SEO booster. Is that a different product?
It's not. It's just what I call it to the retail.
Oh, local SEO booster. I like it.
Yeah, it's like for agencies and people that are in SEO, we sell it as SitePop as a software where they do it themselves. When I'm talking to like local businesses, they don't want to do their own SEO. They don't want to buy software and, get in that game. So we just repackage the front end as a service, and we sell it as, a little bit higher and call it something different. So, but it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing of what we're doing. It's just whether they're doing it themselves as SitePop or we're doing it for them as a local SEO boost service.
John, one last question before you move too far from the PR reach. When they do that, do they also include in that the as seen on badging, or is that's another service, or is that something that you even
same thing? That is back to stacking the cool. You can say, and on top of you getting this video that, is someone else talking about you, which you can use in your social media, you can put it on your website, you can send it to prospective customers. It gives you a lot of options of what you can do with that video, how powerful it is. And on top of all that, you can also put as seen on your website. And it gives you all the major news channels like ABC, NBC, CBS. Like you see those on my site. I think I still have those on the homepage as seen on. That's what those are from. Those are from a video press release done by PR Reach. So they send you, once you do it, they send you a report that you can either look at or give to your client. And it shows like all the places where that press release and that video showed up. And any site that they showed up on gives you the right to say, I was seen on whatever that site is. And they've got hundreds of sites that you are going to show up on.
One of the things I wanted to do, John, was that I've seen those badges on more and more places because you can buy for $99, you can now buy a service and get on the name, and it's losing its value. I was thinking to actually have that banner with those links on it actually link to a page where it would show that video along with the screen grabs of all the places that it was actually shown on. So you don't just have the as seen on stuff, you actually have a page that validates it. That's something that's missing.
Sure. Anywhere where you can look different, you're going to add value to whatever you're doing. Like when I do my as seen on, like if you go on, I think it's on my about page, it shows not only like, if I only showed the as seen on, you're right, I would just look like everyone else that's done that thing. But I don't do just that. I put on there where I've spoken, and I put all the logos of all the places, the conferences I've spoken at. So I mix them up so it looks much more powerful. It doesn't just look like a generic badge that everyone else has. You'll see in LinkedIn, like there's thousands of people that have that generic badge with the 4 logos. And you're right, it just looks like everybody else. So whenever you can do something that brings you to the top, you should definitely do that for sure.
Thanks, John.
Hey, John, I had a question about the PR reach as well.
Okay.
I do a lot with press releases for my clients, but a lot of the news sites that I use don't allow the video. They just allow a link. So you're saying that with PR reach, they actually put the video in the press release, not just the link?
Yes, you can actually put the video as a link for those ones that don't allow video embeds in the press release. You can reference the video and just put a link to it.
Yeah.
In the press release. That's a way to get around that. But yeah, PR reach wherever they can, and they can't do this on all of them because you're right. Some of them don't allow embeds.
Right.
But the ones that do allow embeds, they embed it in there.
Okay.
So it shows up right in the press release.
Got it. Do you know their distribution in terms of how many or what the sites are? Are these blogs or news sites or what?
I haven't looked at it in probably at least a couple of years, so I don't know currently what they have. But when I was doing it on a regular basis, they had, I think, about 300 different channels that they broadcast out to. And
yeah, okay. I can see how that would be extremely powerful if you could have a video.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, because when you do a press release, it's here today and gone tomorrow. Press releases don't like stick around forever typically, unless you go out and you link build to them and you promote them and, you do all the SEO stuff to them. But that video can go on your website forever.
Sure.
If you have a testimonials page, that's a great place to put it. If you have an about us page, that's a great place to put it. I've seen people put them on their homepage because you can literally, I did a couple of them where I did them for myself and I literally I didn't care about the press release. I just wanted the video and I scripted it. And you guys know how I engineer a script, right? So you can engineer a script to have them say anything you want said about you. And you know what they say, right? When somebody else says it, it's true. Right? So
it's about $1,000. Is that what it is for a month?
On the video press release, I don't know what it is now. Richard, has anybody looked at it recently?
It's between $300 to $1,000.
Okay. So
Now,
probably
they're still showing a $99 a month option.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at their website right now.
The monthly was like, if you committed to monthly, they gave you a better deal and then you got like so many per month. But it was really a good deal. And also the range in price probably depends on how far they're syndicating it, what they're doing. If you want the video option, there's probably, that's what the range of price is there.
And do they produce the video or
yes,
write it and everything for you?
They don't necessarily write it. You write your script. Their script is based off of your press release.
Oh.
they're going to take your press release and they're going to read it just like a newscaster would read on the 5 o'clock news. So it's very, very powerful based on your script. It's going to be as powerful as your script is. So cool stuff. Roger, we're back to you.
Hey, John, I don't know if this is a good time for it because I really want some brain synapses from the entire audience here. We may be already brain powered out.
Well, we'll do our best for you.
All right. So I'm going to give you a metaphorical business. It is skydiving for couples that free fall.
Okay.
Now, what I mean by that is I went skydiving decades ago and tandem wasn't a thing. If you wanted to go to any altitude at all, you had to take, and I took a 6-hour class, and then you had to take a safety procedures test and pass it. Then you went up in the airplane and an instructor jumped out and you jumped out, and there was no tandem. You had to pull the ripcord yourself. You had to monitor your own altitude. First jump, right? So
that just makes my butt pucker thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay. So Michelle and I's business is in a world where tandem jumps aren't possible and many couples want to skydive together. We want to help teach couples how to safely skydive. Okay.
Because what you just gave is the phenomenal framework to a big idea.
Yeah. Now, the issue is this: for our branding purposes, do we come out and sell how great skydiving is, this spectacular adventure system, or do we assume that people want to skydive and we need to sell the safe, responsible skydive system?
Everybody wants to do something. Right. It's the thing that keeps them back from it is usually uncertainty, fear. So a lot of people, probably have that fear of skydiving. And usually fear is based on lack of knowledge. So the tandem guy that gets on your back and gets you going through the experience so you can experience it, it removes the fear, it removes the uncertainty, and it teaches you how to do it yourself. But it allows you to actually go out and be able to do it on your own. So I think that's a phenomenal wrapper. I think that is like, you could not have come up with a better analogy. They are identical. They're exactly the same. So I think
that leads to, are we selling how great skydiving is for couples, right? Or are we selling a safe, responsible system because all the other people out there are doing it dangerously and it'll splat on the ground?
Yeah, you have to base that on what they want and why they want it.
I only get one brand.
Okay.
Now, what about
you can't modify SitePop for every customer?
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying.
Sorry,
about
Allie.
that. No, here's what I'm saying about that is it's like, for me, I can't sell SEO because nobody wants it. They want the outcome of it. So I have to go there. I have to focus on that. So for you, it's going to be the same thing. I don't think you can focus on the safe thing as the whole deal. That is strictly a feature. That is just a removal of fear factor.
Let me add one caveat, and then Allie, I'll want to hear yours too, and that is this caveat. As with skydiving, let us make the presumption that while many people of both genders skydive and enjoy skydiving, the segue in is going to be the adventure-oriented male kind of wanting to sell the idea to the spouse female, right? So this brand must help the husband sell adventure skydiving to the wife.
Okay.
And the wife is more reticent. So the question is, what branding will make the wife A, interested, but B, feel like this is the right way to do it? Because I can envision 10 things that could go terribly, terribly wrong. And I want to know that these people can handle those 10.
Gotcha. So here's what you're up against. The product needs to be sold to her, right? The guy is the one who wants her sold on it. Your marketing is to him, not to her. So you're marketing to him how to sell her on the product that's made for her.
Yes.
That is your pathway. So you're marketing to him and you're marketing a way for him to sell it to her.
Yes.
That is exactly what you're wanting to do.
So your brand name idea?
The brand is, again,
I mean, there's lots of words I could add sizzle words, and I could add in the copy, in the lead page, right? Sizzle words and safety words. But what is the system?
Okay,
the
so let's go to what drives a female most is security. What would be more secure than her being able to make a connection with her man that's going to hold him forever and never let him go, never let him get away, right? She has to be willing to do what he wants, follow his lead, enjoy his skydiving sport, or she's going to lose him, right? I mean, that's the reality of the situation. If this guy wants to skydive so bad and she won't let him, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to say, "Oh, I'll be back for dinner." And to a woman that is security driven, what could be more painful than losing him? Right? That's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about, you need to understand what's going on under the hood, what they want and why they want it. Why would she want to skydive, right? Her main primary driver is not to lose him. So
she
when
might actually discover she enjoys skydiving.
She might, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But we're talking about primary drivers here. We're talking about how you're going to make the sale.
Right. Now, Allie's been champing. I want to hear her and Josh.
Okay. We're literally trying to get your attention.
Okay, I'm gonna yield the floor.
John, first of all, I want to say I love everybody's perspective, and this is where you really have to dig into your niche, because that would never work with me. I would say, take a hike, buddy. So I would need.
And you're not his customer.
So would I, Allie?
I can vouch.
He can vouch. He can totally vouch. I'm like, so anyway, I'm saying I would interview Michelle, and because she is one of your best, like she's your. How did you enroll Michelle? And then Michelle and we could talk. We have to brainstorm offline so we could talk about who really are your existing customers, so that you could interview the wife and the husband and what had them say yes, and then build a niche market for the man, like John's saying, to sell the man. Because if you have a dominant and submissive partnership and the woman's submissive, John's what do you call it, Johnny? Big idea will work. With me, I would tell you to pack your M&F bags as fast as you can. So, and Michelle and the other girls are nodding. So we got to tap into Michelle's head and a few other, because there's two distinct markets on how you're going to sell this. And like Rich said,
I know lots of women who, in other words, that are the adventurous one. They're the ones that go skydiving. I actually know them by name.
but honey, they're talking about a whole.
But I mean, in other words, yeah.
But our advertising, this is important though. Our advertising reaches the men in a 30-to-1 ratio of reaching the women.
Right.
So it's always going to be, as John says, in our case, just because that's who we can reach, the man bringing the woman into the adventure sport.
But that said, let me say something else. Allie is right, dead nuts on the money, but she's not your customer, so that doesn't count.
See, and Michelle just wrote, I was not adventurous until I was. So Yeah, like if you look at the chat, John.
Yeah.
There's
But
so
see-
much good in the chat right now.
But see, Allie, what's going to happen here, and this, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying what's going to happen is you're not the one being sold by Roger. Roger is
Right.
going to sell the husband who's going to bring it home and feel the wife out to see how this is going to go. He's going to make his own decision whether he's cutting his throat or not.
Right. So what do you call the system? Like you have the ACT protocol rubric thing, right? And it doesn't have site pop is a great name. It's site pop. It's a thing you can box it up and hand it to somebody, right? Conceptually.
Yeah.
The ACT protocol techno rubric thing is a weird name. So my question is, we need a something like these people have a system that may, husband to wife, right, may assuage your concerns. Let's just take a look.
Mhm.
Right. I'm with you. If you aren't interested, I'm okay with that. But before we rule it out, let's check this out. That's what we want.
I think a great way to develop this, and John has the brilliant mind, is to develop curiosity. Because if you, like for women, we're curious. So that's why I was saying when John was talking, you can do sexy to the men, yet still safe for the women.
Yeah.
So you can have both, and everybody can be happy and have a spicy, hot life. No,
I get one name on one product.
So what
Fine.
It's easy to say both.
Sexy
she
and
just
safe.
said though, Roger, what she just said is after she says to you, pack your effing bags and you leave her curious, she's going to come back around and ask questions.
that's a
Sexy but
possibility.
safe. Go with that. The sky's the limit.
So I don't want to,
But really, you can't say safe and sexy or sexy and safe.
It's not about that. It's,
Sounds
Isn't
like
it?
a condom.
because I thought it was.
no, see what you got. You have features and benefits, and that's a feature. You never sell on features. You always sell on benefits, which brings me back around to what is it that's wanted and why? Why does this guy want to convince his wife of this, right? Those are kind of the things. If we can get those out on the table, I could be very effective at wrapping that in a big idea.
Yeah, let's do it. Put it on the table, Roger. Table thing.
Okay, so there's golf widows, right? Famous term. The guy's obsessed with golfing, or pick your sport, football widows, whatever, right?
Boat
And
widow.
the wife, okay, the wife just isn't interested in being immersed in that. So you can drag her along to every once in a while some golf tournament, but for the most part, you leave, she stays at home, you're with your golfing buddies, blah, right? A lot of couples want to have a shared hobby, and they want it to be fun and exciting. So in our case, there's lots of fun, exciting, Glamis, if you're in Southern California, four-wheeling and all of that, pontoon boating. For us, it's more adventurous, it's skydiving, right? So the idea is you want to do your skydiving with your partner, not leave your partner at home and go find a bunch of strangers that you create friendships with and do your skydiving with. So the question is, how do you decide to make it a shared hobby that you can both enjoy? Because when you're at home and you're not skydiving, a lot of your talk is about skydiving and reminiscing over that amazing jump and the upcoming.
Yours is, but hers also?
Yeah, because there's if she sees a photo of a beautiful landscape, she might point it out and say that would be fun to skydive, wouldn't it?
Okay, so what you're describing is you're talking a long way down the path here. And who you're selling to is not down that path yet. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get them on the path. And the guy is going to be the sales vehicle for you to do that.
Yes.
So in your opinion, has she ever thought about this without feeling safe enough to mention it to him?
There's a definite segment And we know people in that category. The women feel their skydiving, anti-skydiving husband would never go for it, even though they find it alluring. We know them.
Okay. So something here that might attract him is something curious, like how to light your woman's fire. And now he grabbed his attention because that's what he wants. He wants a fire lit that's going to light his, right? So you've grabbed his attention now. Now you get the chance, you get the opportunity to create demand and desire for what you're going to offer by exposing to him that the idea of she's probably thinking about this too, secretly, and by you not segueing into a safe way for her to skydive and express that desire to skydive, you're really subduing her. You're not doing your relationship any good.
That's a segment, but it's hard to reach for us in our advertising venue. Let me describe the most prototypical avatar, and that is husband wants to couple skydive, not solo skydive, right? And the wife has an inkling of this, but is very hesitant. And the main hesitancies are all the boogeymen of the social circle. If they knew she skydived, they don't like skydiving and would think only crazy people skydive. So, that'd be terrible. And also you could splat and lots of other bad things. And, husband might find people that are better at skydiving than her, and, want to skydive, not couple skydive anymore. And there's lots of fears, so they don't entertain it. And the question is, how do you use the man? Because you nailed it exactly. How do you use the husband as the sales conduit to the wife? Because we can reach husbands galore.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
How do you use the husband as a sales conduit to the wife to say, hey, let's ask this third party that's knowledgeable in skydiving about it?
Yeah. So this is almost identical to how Eben Pagan made $27 million the first year he did this.
I'll settle for 10.
It's almost identical. and what he keyed on was what the man wanted. This was, he was after single men, so it's not an identical fit, but it is. Because it's about what the man wanted. And what he did was he sold the man a training program on how to get what he wanted. And that's exactly what you can do.
Okay, so are you saying now brand to the men? Because what I'm thinking of is we have to assume the man wants it and we're branding to the woman's ear.
Okay, well,
that's what I'm thinking.
You really need to brand this particular product to the man, because this doesn't have anything to do with the woman. She is excluded from this. This is a secret thing. The man is going to buy. He will spend a lot of money on this too. He will buy. If he thinks he's going to get what he wants, he will spend money on it. So if you created, and this goes to product development. This goes to figuring out what people want, why they want it, and create it for them if it doesn't exist. So you want to create a program for that man to train him how to talk to his woman, how to convey these ideas, open it up, put her in a safe place where they can have a conversation that's never been had before. And coach him how to do that.
That's an enlightening view. Our thought was there's going to be a subset that can at least bring their wife to like a live webinar 1 hour thing that we would host, and it would be both of them there, and we would be talking, half an hour benefits, half an hour of objection overcoming at a very terse, cursory level. In little terse terms.
But you just said it yourself. That's a small group compared to the guys.
Yeah, true.
If you could sell this to 100 million men and you never got it past that, would you care? She does not. Here it comes down to my primary question. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be right?
Rich first, and then we can save the
right.
world.
All right. So that goes to a core principle of ACT. You go for the biggest, most lucrative segment of the market. And you said it yourself, it's the men.
Okay, so now if we're selling to the men on how to sell the woman, what then are the words? Is it the sizzle words or because now we don't have to sell the safe, responsible part of it because we have to train them to do that.
Correct.
So then
this is all about, and remember, women are security. What are men? Significance. Men are significance. So the significance comes with freedom, power, all of that. So the power for the man to get what he wants is like the ultimate creme de la creme. So that's what you key on. You key on turning him into a powerful communicator that can get what he wants.
Well, oddly, we live in a society where you're not allowed to go skydiving unless you do it with your spouse. So there's a built-in motivation to teach your spouse skydiving.
Yes, exactly. And that's why if he knows if he doesn't get that, he doesn't get the other.
No skydiving for you.
That's right. So what is more important to him than the significance of being able to make that happen? Nothing. There is nothing in his world that's going to be worth more than that one thing.
So we're thinking the mastermind program is after an initial kind of a training boot campy thing that we offer. And the mastermind would be for the two of them.
Again, that's great, but that is down the road.
You're just saying abandon all of that. Forget the whole two of them.
I'm not saying abandon it. It's just down the road. Your big money opportunity is to create the front end thing. And when you make enough money off that, you might change your mind.
I'm not visualizing how to do a mastermind with just
doesn't have to be a mastermind.
I offer something for your consideration.
Yeah.
As an analogy, motorcycling, right? Motorcycling is massively huge in my blood and in my life. My wife doesn't ride. So that creates it's like, how do we work that?
Yeah.
And what it required was finding a way for her to enjoy participating that didn't require her to be on a motorcycle, but to still be part of it, part of what was going on, so that she and I could do things together. So we've been to events together where I rode in with people, but she came with some friends. We did a massive 1,200 miles in 5 days motorcycle trip where she stayed, she was driving the chase vehicle. So there were different ways for her to experience what we were doing. So we're still doing it together in a sense, but it gave her an option to experience it that didn't require taking a massive leap across what she considered, her comfort threshold. So there may be an angle to work in the skydiving community.
So first, is it Jeff or Jeffrey?
Wolf.
I get that. What's the one word used to address Jeffrey Wolf?
Sir.
Okay, sir. Lord Wolf. Duke of Wolfdom. What about her? So in the motorcycling community, I used to have a Harley. I've had 7 motorcycles. I have one in the garage. There's the wives who also get a motorcycle and ride alongside the husbands. And then there's the wives more commonly who ride on the back. And yours is the third category, wives who participate in some events, but don't even ride on the back. Yeah. They're in the car.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm selling a program where the guy wants the wife on that motorcycle. So yours is a
Well,
great compromise.
But
What-
you want to teach them to jump, right?
Make the
yeah, they'll have to
So
ride their own
she's on her
motorcycle.
own motorcycle. She's not on the
with
back.
the husband alongside, but yeah, she's on her own motorcycle.
Yeah.
So would you see a program where, like, would you, not in your particular life, but analogous, if you could have 30 of you,
yeah,
would you be interested in a program where we try to show you how to get your wife more interested in riding a motorcycle than she already is? And the question is, what branding words go in the program itself, not the long copy, but in the program itself? Is it because a lot of, frankly, in my motorcycling experience, women are more apt to be concerned about our helmet efficacy and, you know, traffic fatality statistics than the men.
So we teach women to ride, and the big issue is safety. They don't think they can do it.
And all of
safety,
those
safety and self-confidence. Safety in terms of, they think even the smallest thing, you know, it's concerned about being injured somehow through some who knows what, and that's driven a lot by lack of self-confidence. They don't believe they can do it, and then we get them in a parking lot with an instructor on a motorcycle, and you can watch that rapidly change.
Right, that's the key. What caused her to say, I will go to this class and get an instructor? That's what program words, John, you're saying?
I
sell
can
the
tell you
sizzle to the
what
guy.
keeps her from it. I can tell you what keeps her from it. And that's objections. Every objection is based upon a belief, like Jeff said it there, or Sir Jeffrey Wolf said it there.
Sir Jeffrey
is she doesn't believe she could do it. That is a belief. So the first thing in changing a belief is a claim. The claim is worthless left alone. Like, you can do it. That's the claim. You can do it. That's worthless by itself. But then you need proof, claim, proof, benefit. So the proof is they brought her to a place where she saw other women doing it. So now the idea that I can't do it because I'm a woman, just poof, it's gone. That belief just changed now of, oh, I can do it. And now you attach it to the benefit of the wind running through her hair. Her husband's happy. He's going to stay with me forever because I'm making him happy. Claim, proof, benefit. That's how you overcome any objection. You just need to find out, what are the objections keeping her off the bike, keeping her out of the plane. Claim, proof, benefit reverses, eliminates the objection, and creates demand and desire. So
in overcoming the
formula.
objections was also done a lot by getting her around women that are like her, that she likes,
Right.
but that also ride.
It's very formulaic.
So is the program the spectacular skydiving system, or is it the smart, responsible skydiving system?
It's not a skydiving system. It's about the bond of the couple. It's about her independence without, you know, it's about her being more bonded in the relationship without losing her sense of self and independence.
Yeah. So Roger, there is no way to slice this down the center and make this one thing. You have two things here. You have a front end thing that's going to allow the man to sell the system to the woman, but it's two completely different things. It's marketed completely differently. It's completely different.
I'm getting all kinds of crazy hell yeah on the background here from my wife, by the way.
Josh,
Oh, I was just trying to get attention for John.
Hey, Roger.
yeah, Dan.
When I was in the Army, I was a paratrooper. And when I came out of the Army, I was working at a drug rehab center as a therapist. But while I was there, I created a video to help the people with their recovery, with their recovery steps. So I just had this idea to film people not skydiving, but static line jumping. And I called the film Alternative Highs. And it was very successful. But interestingly enough, the only person who volunteered to actually make the jump was one of our was a woman who was one of our workers, one of my partners. And I was thinking, well, maybe, you know, something around the idea of an alternative lifestyle, maybe for people in a relationship that's maybe not exactly what they want, they don't have enough passion, or maybe it's lacking something. Maybe something around the word alternative, alternatives. And another little tidbit is just 2 weeks ago, I was it was warm, I'm in Ohio, and we just happened to have a day where it was like 55 degrees. So we had a little barbecue over my nephew's, and my nephew's girlfriend was going on and on and on about how she would love to skydive. And he was totally against it. And I was shocked because she and I were just bonding because, you know, I used to be a paratrooper. And so my experience with skydiving has always been around women who were ready to go, and it was the guys who didn't want to go. But anyways, maybe something around alternatives is something that you could think of might be helpful.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
Mhm.
Hey, that could be something that we don't know. Maybe you think you've got a higher men market on the front end of this thing. Maybe you've got a higher woman market. I don't know. Michelle's like, well, I don't think so. But hey, I've seen stranger things happen.
It's almost like you're creating a world. I want to say like this, you know, with these alternate, the metaverse, these alternate worlds everybody's buying into. It's almost like, what if you created a world that this was absolutely normal and what was accepted? You know, like you just put it out there like, hey, this is a virtual world that is now real. You know, because do you know what I'm pointing to, John, Roger, Michelle, like, and everybody? It's like live in the space of
Creating
this
familiarity.
Yeah, like you're actually saying this is like, it's like 20 years ago, if you were gay, you had to come out of the closet. So now that's kind of what you guys are dealing with. You're normalizing an alternative lifestyle that can be hot, sexy, spicy, fun, and still safe. So that's my thinking. Like, again, I go to the two niches. You're saying you're going to put the thrust of your momentum toward the men. Okay, so but to like with the whole act system in the background here, it's got so many layers. I totally agree with John in that creating something like, it's like John's analogy, what John always says, it's like dating. First, give the guy a kiss on the cheek and say, hey, like give him a free webinar to come to, and then talk to him about the benefits and how to approach his wife, and, you know, listening for his fears about how to talk to his wife, and to enroll her in the possibility of having this spicy, daring thing. And if maybe it doesn't have to be a whole lifestyle. Maybe it's one dinner, like one time, honey, maybe we can watch something like, you know, I don't know, like that, like where you step somebody into it, like anything. Horseback riding, you meet the horse and you pet it, you know, then you saddle it up, you brush it, like it's all like, you know, like, and I learned how to horseback, and that's a ride, and that's what you do, because, you know, when you're little, the horse is gigantic, even when you're not, right? The horse is much bigger than all of us. So it's like this just incremental, it's like the thing that gets, two things that stand out for me is for you guys to create the space of, this is totally fine and a hot, spicy, sexy thing to check out. You don't have to change and make it your whole lifestyle at first, but it's like, go for the date, go for the kiss on the cheek, go for, let's have lunch, like John's thing about dating. That to me, if you get to the guy and you say, hey, let's have lunch, let's have coffee. And so then you start to engage in a conversation where you can talk to the men, and you can say, you have Michelle as your direct reference. You'd say, well, this is what worked with my wife. She was very hesitant, and that's a true story, you guys. And that's where you're gonna, and then it's a natural, sifter, right? The people that are like, and like John always says, the people that will go to the next step are one group, but there will be people that will sit in the background going, and you keep dripping on them. Like perhaps you do a drip campaign about concerns and how we overcame those fears, and then John, like John was saying, lead with the benefits, the benefit of the closeness, the ignited, hot, intimate relationship that, like Dan was pointing to, that something fizzled out and now it's, you poured gasoline on it, and now the intimacy between you and your partner actually increased, and laughing together and talking about funny moments. But starting with the let's have coffee approach for men. Hey, let's just talk, guys, about the possibility. It's a hidden fantasy that is actually a real world that you can investigate in. And believe it or not, your wife, it maybe never occurred to her, but she would be more open to it based on, let me show you how to coach her into being accessible and open and available to the possibility of this. Never any forcing. So you're dating the man, you're coaching him how to talk to his wife, which can be very tricky for anyone that's married. But, does that make sense?
Anybody
Roger?
else that has ideas, throw them in the chat. I appreciate everybody. I'll yield back, but Ali, I just got to say, you really nailed it, because the counterintuitive benefit of skydiving is the closeness it creates between the couple, the fun, the excitement, you're just fun college kids again. It's about each other, and that's exactly opposite of what most people think the experience is about.
Right. But, and then just as the woman, like the guy would have to be able to know how to approach his wife. And that is where it gets tricky, because each woman is different, and each woman's fears, like my brain is going through, oh my God, what, be with a guy that I don't know, and what angle is he going to see me at, and holy crap, and all that, like, let's put it out there. Like, what is the real fear deals? And that's really what you have to help the men be able to say. Like, that's why you interview Michelle and get the big 4 or the big 5. What were the big blockers? And then, like, I asked Michelle, like, what had her initially say, I might try that, or we could talk about that. And then after the first time, what was the point, Michelle, where it went from, oh gosh, this is fun, like all that has to be, and that is all coaching for men. And that's like the whole, like John's talking about, like there's a whole place where you talk to just the guys, and then as the men have results about, and they come back to you and say, well, my wife told me this, this, and this, you have to be, then you can be in the coaching of, okay, that's great. And see, this is all psychological, and it's all fear. Like John was saying, the blocks are all fear around where we live over here. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, especially the older you get. I mean, there's so many factors with having sex with, forget it, just your own husband, never mind everybody else. So it's dicey, Roger, And,
Well, Ellie, how do you know it was Roger that had to convince Michelle?
just
How do we
based
know
on
it wasn't
facial
the other way around?
Because I'm sitting in the back of the room on the left, watching everybody. And Michelle has been honest with us. So yeah, I agree with you, John, but we're trying, if you were, like I said, you have to pick one niche, but I like coming from the space of, it's an acceptable alternate reality world. You're in a place where everybody's open to virtual worlds. And so you can step into the space where, what if it wasn't taboo? But taboo is also very sexy. That's partly what makes it very enticing, right? It's still an edge. It's still like, it's not like go get a carton of milk, honey. You know what I mean? So anyway.
And I think like the biggest generic advice that I could give to Roger right now is to not be so rigid in your ideas of what's going to work and what's not. And you know, I sensed a little rigidity that you like, I have to do one thing. You need to kind of come out of that box and do whatever it takes and figure out, you know, what is the reality of the situation, you know, as far as, you know, if you got, nobody has just one avatar. I don't care what business you're in, what you're doing, there is a bunch of them. And I always say, start with the most profitable one first. So you need to kind of like be open to looking at, there's more than one answer to this. And, you know, just you will do yourself a big favor if you do that.
But I need one name.
Yeah, no,
yes, you've shifted my focal point a bit today, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think what this might solve your problem, because I get it. And again, that's a rigidity thing. You said it. I need one name. You don't. You might need one name as an umbrella for your company, like your brand. Like for me, it's Dominator. My one name is Dominator. Does Dominator, you know, describe everything that I do? No. I have a bunch of different programs like SitePop. That's not Dominator, but it's a product of Dominator. So what you need is you might need one overall brand, like you were talking, that kind of encompasses everything. So you're right in that. And I don't know really, you're going to have to kind of think about like, what is middle ground? What's going to not offend anybody? What's going to appeal to most? Like it,
unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to not offend.
Yeah, like for me, and I don't mean not offend you, because you're right, but like for me, there's a lot of women that don't like the whole Dominator brand, right? But they're not business women, because strong, powerful business women tend to be more like men in that power drive. So they do like it. So do I care about the ones that I potentially offend by being Dominator? I do not. They're not who I'm selling to. So you have to look at things that way of who are you selling to, and the rest, you don't care. Not because you're not a caring person, it's just you don't care because that doesn't fit into this model of what you're doing. You know?
I totally agree with John. It's like who cares about who's offended by it, who would never, ever, 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 because people who never, ever, ever end up being your best customers anyway. But go for it. You're just trying to shake the tree and see who falls in your lap and then enroll them. Because there's a whole, like, you guys are not weirdos, you know, like you're normal people that are exploring things. You're adventurous. I know normal is a bad word these days, but anyway, so my point is, to do what John's saying, it's like, that's the whole point of, you know, your advertising is to sift. You're just sifting for those interested or curious about this path. And then that's who you sell to. You don't waste your money trying to convert, you know, the, you know, pious, you know, I mean, like I said, there's a whole, like, believe me, we could riff. I could do a whole convo stream on this, let me tell you, because the pious are the most, you know, debauched. So anyway, let's move along. But my point is go for your, like John said, the audience that you're going to get the most money, who you're looking for curious or have the fantasy already. And that you're normalizing it. You're making it okay to step out of the hot wife closet, you know, and come into a community where you have vetted people so that it's a safe community where they're, you know, that's the key. You're building a community where people are vetted and it's not just, you know, somebody off the street. You know what I mean? That's going to be a real big selling point. It would be for me to know that everybody's got a certain level of consciousness and care and concern and conscientiousness, you know, and a whole lot of like all kinds of factors, you know.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you, everybody.
So I'll on the side, I'll kind of chew on this a little bit for you, Roger, and see what I can come up with. But I got an idea where you need to go at this point. But there's almost a cliche about this, what Ali was describing there. You can't be everything to everybody. And the more you try, the more miserable you'll be.
Well, we were going to be everything to couples that fit a segment, but
Yeah.
John, you're steering us towards just go before that stage and just focus on that pre-conversion audience.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying not take it down the road.
Right.
But you need to start the road. You need to start the fire. You need to get him in the plane.
All right, Captain.
Right. At least, yeah, it's like the analogy, get them to on a coffee date. Yeah. Get them.
Yeah, but there's a ton of stuff that I see in this that is right online. You could, we talk about copying what works, modeling what works.
Mhm.
You could model an awful lot of what Eben Pagan did and his dating stuff for men. You could get a lot of that. And I can explain a little more in depth if we get into that. Get down that
would be perfect. That would be awesome. John.
But you
It's
can
really-
see how it doesn't matter what you're doing. It all relates the same to the marketing end.
Mhm.
It's all the same. It doesn't matter if you're selling skydiving or roller skating. It really doesn't matter. All the formulas, everything is identical, and it works. It works. I was going to reveal on this week's call a damaging admission. You guys want to hear a damaging admission?
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So I'm always talking about how well ACT works, right? And
Yeah.
how it does if you don't follow it, it does not work. Well, I did a marketing campaign and I didn't follow it. I left a couple of very important pieces out and I fell on my face just as recent as a week ago. I went back, fixed my evil way, and it worked again, just like that. I mean, it was like magic.
Wow.
So I came out with that whole crypto club thing, right? And I offered it up to Craig for a promo. And he put the email out and nobody signed up. Zero.
That's
Zero
weird.
response, right? And it was purely because we left out a piece. We had the front end, we had the big idea, we had the curiosity, we had the offer, but what we didn't have was the presentation. We had nothing in place to create demand and desire, eliminate objections prior to making the offer. And it got zero response. So there is proof that it doesn't work for me. Like a lot of people think that shit just works for me because it's me, right? It does not. And if I screw up, I pay the price just like everyone else. So that was one of the things I wanted to get out there, that because that's something a lot of people think. They're like, oh, everything works for you because it's you. That is so not true. When I mess up and I don't follow the formula, it doesn't work for me either. Just like I've always said. So what we did, I called Craig up and I'm like, hey, you didn't get any sales off that promo. And I know why. I said, we had no formal presentation. There was no going through it, creating demand and desire. I said, let's pop on a webinar. Let me push my start out from the 1st to the 4th. It'll give us a little time. We can do a webinar. I can get on there and I can tell people what it's about. I said, let me do that. Let me do my thing, do my magic. So he did. He put me on Tuesday, and we went through, and I was thinking we're going to do it in like a half hour, but there was so much content and so much positive feedback. People wanted more and more info. I think we're on there for like an hour and a half. Well, we did like 20 sales out of that room. It was a very high conversion ratio. very high. So we went from 0 to a home run marketing campaign just by doing it right. So again, it's proof. I can say it all day long. That's my claim. There's proof. Proof that it doesn't work for me, proof that it does when I do it right. So I just wanted to throw that out there, a damaging admission. I screwed up. It happens.
That's awesome. It was a great conversation. I was thinking you could edit that and put it out for if you wanted to expand Crypto Club, because it was so well done.
Yeah. And I may, this is totally an experiment for me. I'm just doing it because I'm so happy with the results for myself. I just want to share it.
Right.
If it bombs, I'm fine with that. I've committed to a year. I may not do anything beyond that. If it works out really good, I'll turn it into a product and sell it just like I did with ACT.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just an experiment. But be open-minded to what works. And if it doesn't, move on very quickly. Move on to something that does. The more things you try, the more likely you'll be to find one that, hits it out of the park.
See, that's the advice for everybody, not just Roger.
Yeah, absolutely. That was what I was saying. It doesn't matter what you guys are doing, it all the same.
Right.
All
Actually, that's what I put a thank you in the chat, because the whole conversation was great marketing for all of our businesses. It was because it's principle that we're talking about,
Yeah, the formulas are so rock solid. They've been used in ad agencies for over 100 years. And they don't vary. They don't mix it up. They don't try new stuff. They just model what works. Unfortunately, the hard part is the thought process of to get there. It's like Roger's looking for one thing right now. He's looking for, what is my brand? And sometimes it doesn't just magically appear. You got to move the weeds around and shake the trees, and eventually it will fall out. But sometimes it's a process.
That was an interesting thing that you said, because I was thinking, so what constitutes, how do you help someone develop their brand? Can you speak to that? Like talk about what a brand is, and how would you have someone narrow down to choose?
And again, it falls right back what we were talking about. What is it? What's the image that you want people to gravitate to? And it's not what you want them to gravitate, it's what they will gravitate to. Like for me, it was the Dominator brand. All people in marketing want to dominate. They don't want to just get mediocre results. They want to go to the other end of the scale. They want to dominate. So everything I do under that business falls under that brand. So in Roger's case, what is that one thing that they all want? I think they want fire in their relationship myself. I think they want it, like somebody said it, I don't know if it was Roger or somebody else, but they want to be 16 again. They want that excitement of the first date, all over again. And what's the word that represents that? That's going to be Roger's word.
It's like the whole unknown territory. That's the allure.
Yeah. And then you're going to have unique mechanisms to deliver that result. And your first one is going to be a training program for the man. In my opinion, that's going to be your first product rollout. And then you can roll the products out as they unveil themselves. And eventually you'll get to the one that you want. Just be patient. So, but be thinking about that. What's the word that encapsulates that excitement energy of, the first date, that being 16 years old, being in love? Because that's what they all want. The guy wants to be loved, and the woman wants to keep him forever. Security. How do we say that in one word? That's your brand.
And don't cut out the idea of like Kodak did. There was no word of Kodak before they invented the word Kodak, and they
Yes.
made it mean something. That's the whole thing is sometimes you have to make up a word. Look at all these, hell, look at the drug industry. Where the hell do they come up with all the names they come up with that stuff? But every one is a unique name, and they then sell that name and what the definition of it means. And the process of selling is letting them know what that means and creating a whole new gestalt around a brand new created word.
Yeah, that's unique mechanism right there.
Right, that's logo development. We used to brainstorm like Verizon. We took Veritas and Horizon, and Veritas means truth on the horizon, and we married them together. So that had a whole subconscious thing when they launched Verizon, whatever, 20 years ago. That was intentional. So you might want to choose two different words and put them together, and
Yeah, I
Latin
think isn't it agape? Isn't that love?
agape is yes, it's one of the Greek words for love. It's spiritual love. Yes.
So maybe take a couple of Greek words and pop them together and come up with some,
Or, that's one of the things we do. Well, when I was with big agencies, we would look to different languages like Latin, Greek, anything, your romantic languages, and you pick the words. You pick a word that is easy to say, easy to combine, and has, believe it or not, has O's in it. Words with O's in it, for some reason, people like.
Kind of like
And-
Google.
Yes, Google, Yahoo, Verizon. Like if you have an O, it's something about the resonance, and it's been so oddly researched. So, and easy to say. The worst thing, I don't know why multi-level marketing companies always pick words that are so hard to say, like they begin with X or, SPHY. You're like, how the hell do you say this? Always take the embarrassment factor out. So you might want to brainstorm like that, Roger. Look up, do some word searches and pick two words that you like and marry them together from a different language. Or anyway, that's just a little.
That's
Well,
cool. I didn't know the thing about the O's.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this whole branding thing started because we picked a brand and it was going to be our own word. Like Richard said, we were going to have a free opportunity to define it in that counterintuitive way, about it being more about the couple bonding together than the intuitive, it's about others. And then we realized, and everyone seemed to agree when I put it this way, that there's no way we're going to have the resources to educate a marketplace
Right.
on a new word when there's already a term that everybody knows and it's what they want. So all we have to do is say we have it. It'd be like saying, instead of using crypto, you're going to use some new word that's, responsible crypto.
Right.
But you'd have to get people to understand what the new word is, compared to right now, anything crypto. People are like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
so
Yeah,
that's
there
the
is
problem
that.
with that.
Right.
Also,
well,
you have to remember with Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he first came on the scene, everybody was trying to convince him to change his name. He said, look, if they ever learn to say it, they'll never forget it.
I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there is that, Roger. I think we were in the same mastermind when that feedback was given to you guys. There is that, but sometimes you could brainstorm a brand name that it instantly implies the whole thing. Like I don't know, the last brand developed I was worked on was
I'm listening.
yeah, I hear you. Yeah. And your tagline, can also be the coupling that cements what you're talking about,
Well, alternative highs that Dan said, man, what a great name, because obviously skydiving is high and it's the alternative to drug high. It's such a perfect brand name.
See, now I would play with that. Like I would play with alternative highs. And that's what I mean by I would you know, shorten it and put them, play around with that. Like, I don't know.
Because if you take something like that, that's a good start. Your market will eventually tell you what it needs to be if that's not the best or the correct branding.
Yeah.
Cool.
John, I just
Or
want to
like
quickly
John was
say,
saying-
I just want to quickly say happy birthday to you. I wasn't on the very beginning of the call, and thank you for sharing part of your birthday, helping us.
Oh, you're very
Yeah,
welcome.
hope you have a great celebration.
Thank you. You missed out on everybody saying to me.
Yeah, but yeah, I did. I'll have to listen to the recording.
Oh my gosh.
But thank you.
No,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Don't do it.
No,
There's proof. We recorded it.
Oh my God. Oh,
Oh, it's awesome.
talk about blackmail.com.
Oh, what happens in the group stays in the group, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right. Thanks,
More-
everybody.
More Dominator bloopers.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, you guys know that my brand wasn't always Dominator, right? My original brand, in fact, my main corporation that owns everything is Limbo Vision, that's why the boat is named Limbo Land. We refer to our house as Limbo Land. But Limbo Vision was our original corporation that I started in 1985. And it was basically, everybody called me Limbo when I was growing up, through high school. I was always Limbo. So that company was my vision, Limbo Vision. And it correlated to photography. When I first started it was commercial photography. So the vision, it kind of got in there. Then I started going to marketing conferences, and my badge was always Limbo Vision, and everybody thought I was an optometrist. And I'm like, all right, this is clearly not working anymore. So what once worked, and I didn't change, my whole corporate structure and all that. It's still Limbo Vision. When I do my taxes, it's Limbo Vision. And Internet Dominators is a division of Limbo Vision. So it's a DBA owned by Limbo Vision Corporation. So again, I adjusted, I made some changes, and move on. But that's absolutely right. Your market will tell you when it's not right. It'll tell you what it should be. So
Cool.
Well, Johnny, how are you going to do your birthday? Give us the last.
Oh, it's going to definitely have some sushi involved today. We did the prime rib and crab legs last night.
Nice.
So we're moving on to sushi, and I'm not sure where we're going to go next.
Italia.
I hit some of my top favorites right in the first 3 days.
That's awesome.
Fish tacos in Ventura. There's a little fish taco shack. It's just
Yeah.
like the place.
Yeah. Fish tacos, lobster tacos.
You've had the biggest lobsters on your boat. Michelle and I have been dying.
Yeah, we got those at Catalina. It's super easy to lobster fish. You got these nets, and you put some fish in the middle of the net, you drop it down, and we have 10 of them, 10 nets. By the time you drop your 10th net, you go back and you pull the first one up, and it's got lobsters in it.
Wow.
And then you just keep pulling nets, pulling lobsters. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I've never actually done that until this year. This year was my first experience lobster fishing. So.
John, it's funny because everything, my brain now works, it linked, that the sonar that you have that shows you where all the fish are. I was thinking, how could we act as kind of like that piece of equipment? But
Yeah, you know what that is? That's my analysis.
Yeah.
Before I go to creation, before I go to putting a hook in the water, I do my analysis.
Right. Good.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. So, because I was thinking this is relating to what we're talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of things that I do in life follow the same thing because I like success. I like to model success. Like even before I was in marketing, I would not go out fishing unless I knew where the fish were. I just wouldn't do it. I hated a boat ride. I hated to come home and say, yeah, we caught nothing but a sunburn. And again, that's the male significance. I want to come home and bring home the bacon. I want that recognition. It's a male thing. So I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I come up short. So I do my analysis. I'd figure out, I had commercial fishermen. I would call them and ask them what's in the bellies of the fish. They're netting these fish and they'll cut the bellies open for me and tell me what they're eating. So what bait do you think I'm going to show up with? I'm going to show up with what they're eating, not what I think they like. I'm going to show up with what's in their belly. So I want the highest possible conversion ratio. So I'm going to show up at the right place, the right time. And with fish, that's generally all you need to do. With people, it's a little harder. Fish don't have objections. When you show up with the food, they eat it.
Right. I don't know. Most people do too. I was trying to think, what if you asked like some of the men from our group and did a little survey, like John, Jeff, Dan, all these guys, because the male mind is very different, obviously, from the female mind. But like John's saying, what is the motivator? Like Jeff, he was joking, but he said you could call him sir. And that just like opened up a whole world about his personality. And it's fun and it's cool. And there was this instant connection for all of us. And so I don't know, I just think that to do the market research, like John was saying, what are the fish eating? What's in their bellies? So, or maybe ask a few of your trusted, the guys that are involved in this whole lifestyle, do a survey, get into their, get into their heads and ask the guys how they, do it will help if you construct a survey with powerful questions. It gives you, it's like John said, cutting open the fish and what are they eating? And then you have the bait, then you know what to throw out there to catch them. You know what I mean? So you need I think you need that kind of info.
Let's cut some men's bellies open and see what they're eating.
Well, actually, Allie, that part I have done.
Yeah.
That's cool. We've corresponded in detail with well over 10,000 individuals.
Wow, then you should have a meeting with John and gut that.
But they've been mostly the pre-wife discussion, what I would love to have unfold in a perfect world if my wife would go along with it. So when I came into this call, I was thinking, what I don't communicate with much is women pre-conversion, except for Michelle. So post-conversion, yes, men, gazillion. But John, since you're saying, don't even worry about the couples, go for the big school of salmon out there, which is
always
the very people I've been. Yeah. So
but I got to tell you, this comes down to also relates very much to the size of your mailing list. The bigger your mailing list is, the more you're going to be able to sell on the back end. And if you get all those men in the front end, you're going to have a massive mailing list to be able to sell the stuff you really want to sell on the back end. It's going to help you in so many ways. It's incredible.
Well, one thing that we know of is, what is the bait?
Yes. Yes, we know what she looks like, right?
I don't know what you mean.
The female figure.
All right.
Reminds me
I gotta
of your
go.
pumpkin.
Speaking of the bait, I gotta go feed the wife.
All right. Just don't
It's
feed her to the
lunchtime.
fish.
Thank you, everybody, so much. It's been a great.
Happy birthday, Johnny.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up here?
No, what an invigorating conversation
Yeah,
for your
these calls
birthday.
just keep getting better.
And now so many people are ready to go skydive.
Mhm.
There you go.
at least
It
thinking
is
about
my
it.
birthday, right?
There you go.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, everybody have a great week. Remember, next week, I'm going to probably change to Wednesday because Thursday I'm going to be over speaking at the conference. So our call will probably be moved up to Wednesday. So we will talk to you guys next week. And until then, have a great one.
Happy
Thank
birthday, John.
John, happy
Thank
birthday.
you.